And welcome, everyone. I'm John DeBenedictis, the Executive Director for the National Soccer Coaches Association of Canada. We're a volunteer organization. And with us today as a guest, we have the President of Canada Soccer, Nick Bontis. Also acting as our host will be Alf de Blasis, who's experienced soccer broadcaster for CPL and a number of other things, as well as our technical director, Tony LaFerrara, is going to be joining us. So, fellas, I'm going to have you guys take over. Nick, it's been great to see you. And we actually coached each other a little bit while your kids were, you might want to talk about your kids and how well they're doing now. That was, I think the boys were U11 when you and I were coached against each other, and your team was very good and you won. But we also have a bit of history through Scarborough, Missouri, where you played for a while. So I'll let Alf take over. Thanks, fellas. Thank you very much, John.
And welcome to everyone listening and viewing this really special webinar. And I'm really honored to be co-hosting it with Tony. It's not often that we have an opportunity to hear from the top official in Canadian soccer, but today we do have that opportunity. So Nick, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to spend an hour or so with the members of the NSCAC. We're going to cover a lot of ground, at least we'll try, with Nick, including the fact that he's going to be joining our Canadian national men's team at the World Cup in Qatar in less than a couple of weeks, and we'll get to that as we go along. And like most of these webinars, this is an interactive session, so we'll be taking questions from our viewers from time to time. So if you'd like to ask a question, just use the Q&A box, or if you want to leave a comment, simply type it in the chat box, and we'll try to get to that in the next 60 minutes or so. So Nick, I wanted to start from the very beginning and maybe chat about your background in the game. And John alluded to the fact that you have a background in Scarborough. And not long ago, you brought to my attention a very rare piece of video footage that forever links the two of us. I didn't know this footage still existed. But it does, and it shows you scoring 2 goals for Scarborough Maple Leaf in a Robbie Youth tournament final, while I described the highlights for a TV soccer show that I was doing at the time. And your team went on to win that final and the trophy, and that was one of many awards and titles that you'd go on to win in your playing career. So why don't we start there? Why don't you take us through your career, starting with your youth club soccer in Scarborough? What were some of your fondest memories and maybe notable achievements through those early years with Maple Leaf and Azzurri?
Thank you, Alf. I hope everybody can hear me fine. I'm calling you all from my office here at the business school at McMaster University. So I got my books behind me. It's a beautiful sunny day in Hamilton, Ontario. You might also see that I have a lot of scarves. Every time I go to a high-profile match, I always pick up a scarf. And what you can't see is all the scarves that are in front of me from all over the place. So if I'm in Italy or England or Japan or wherever, I like to collect them. Alf, it's a pleasure to be with you. We had a recent event together where we premiered a fantastic movie, which was awesome. So I'm glad to be with you. I'm going to embarrass you, Alf, because in the chat box, I've just placed the YouTube link of said video where Alf is much younger, sporting a wicked stash with way more hair, doing the play-by-play of the Robbie. So I grew up in Scarborough, as Alf mentioned, grew up playing for a club called Scarborough Maple Leaf. Had fantastic memories in youth soccer. Obviously, played in the Robbie, played in the Ontario Cup. You know, did the typical things that youth teams used to do back then. Traveled to the U.S. for tournaments. You know, everybody hops on a van with parents, and we go down to Virginia and Maryland and Florida. So wonderful memories. And then graduated from youth soccer and went on to university at Western in London. Played soccer at Western as well. In fact, another thing that a lot of people don't know about me is I was a track athlete as well. So I played varsity soccer at Western, but I was also on the varsity track team. I'm a long jumper.
And your boys are playing for Western now, aren't they?
Yeah, so it comes full circle, Tony. So I went to Western, and now both my sons, Charlie and Dino, enjoyed a great OUA season this year at Western as well. So spent about a decade in London, because I did a lot of degrees at Western, and then moved to Hamilton. So I'm at McMaster, been here 24 years, started here as a professor in 1998. I'm now chair of the strategy department here, and I'm proud to announce that McMaster is this year's OUA men's soccer champion as well. So soccer seems to be encircling me wherever I go.
Oh, that's terrific. I just wanted to maybe shout out to all the alumni of Scarborough Maple Leaf and Scarborough Zuri who would like to chat with Nick, and nice to have you along and come on in and ask a question or provide a comment if you like. But Nick, I wanted to maybe talk about your coaching career, because after you played and after the university experience in London and playing in that community, you phased into coaching in Hamilton, and I guess you progressed through your coaching certification and reached the USSF National B license. Congratulations on that achievement. What was the most rewarding aspect of coaching for you?
Yeah, you know what? It's a natural path that most soccer players, male and female, take in this country. You know, you have a career, you play, you try to play old timers as long as your body will let you, and you know, you end up having a family, and you want to give back as a volunteer. You know, so I had boys that were obviously kicking the soccer ball in the basement of my house from the time they could walk. The other thing, Alf, that's important is, you know, I was very lucky. I had fantastic coaches. So if you have fantastic coaches growing up, you tend to kind of pick and choose some of those behaviors, and you try to emulate those behaviors as a coach when you become one. So, you know, if someone did something to you as a coach you didn't like, you know, you put it in the back of the vault there, and you say, I'm not going to do that to a kid if I become a coach, right? I'm going to do the opposite. So I was fortunate with Scarborough Maple Leaf. I had a fantastic coach by the name of Montague Henson. So Monty Henson, a Guyanese fella, was an amazing coach. He was like a father figure, you know, and this is the most important thing that we all who are coaches on this Zoom call appreciate, that sometimes we do play the father role or the mother role for many, many kids. So, you know, he did that for me. I remember being young. I was a striker back then. I would have nightmares and dreams of Monty yelling my name, Nick. So, you know, you see the impact that coaches have psychologically. Even in my university days, Ron Clayton, Rock Basacco, two fantastic coaches. Yeah. I played semi-pro in the old CNSL, Alf, for London City, for a guy that was synonymous with soccer in London by the name of Harry Gauss. And then obviously decided to go do my licenses, was fortunate enough to coach for Hamilton Sparta, a local club here in Hamilton. My boys soon graduated way beyond anything I could give them. So they went on to, you know, much better things. And that's another important role that I think we as coaches need to also play, is to understand, you know, there's a certain capacity and competency that we can provide children at a certain level. And it's actually a good thing when a kid graduates beyond what your competency is, and to be able to pass that baton to, you know, a more formal academy or a professional academy if they're lucky enough. So really enjoyed my coaching career, because it really aligned with my teaching career, right? I mean, I've been teaching for 30 plus years, and coaches are very much like teachers, as we know. And even in the modern day game, and I'm sure we're going to get to this when we talk about Herdman, coaches are also psychologists, and this is you know, the biggest strength that John Herdman brings to the table. So we play a very, very important role, and I have a very, very strong affinity for the coaching community here in Canada.
Thank you for watching this short preview video from the National Soccer Coaches Association of Canada. To see the full video, plus have access to hundreds of other coaching videos, blogs, webinars, and podcasts, plus free and discounted coach education courses and other soccer merchandise, plus to have exclusive access to register for all future NSCAC conventions, both live and online, click on the link below to become a member of the NSCAC today. Also, please remember to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, as your continued support allows us to continue to provide coach education and coach development resources to soccer coaches across Canada and worldwide. Thank you again for your continued support, and we look forward to seeing you at future NSCAC events.